I've talked to many worship leaders, and one of the main questions that I get is how to get your congregation to engage more during worship. And today I'm going to give you some tips that I use every week to get a little bit more engagement from the people that I get to lead and serve. Let's jump into it. What's going on, family? My name is Michael, and I help worship leaders grow spiritually and practically so that they can lead worship more effectively. And today, I'm going to give you my tips that I use every time that I lead worship to get a little bit more engagement from the people that I get to serve every week. But before we get started, I want to give you something. It's called my Worship Leader Toolkit. And this toolkit is going to walk you through step A to Z on how to effectively lead worship. We're talking about song selection, Sunday morning prep. I'm talking about the whole shebang. You can get the whole thing at my website, michaelegould.com/toolkit. That's michaelegould.com/toolkit to get access to this. Again, I talk to many worship leaders and they always say, well, Mike, how do we get our congregation to be a little bit more engaged during worship? And that's a really complex, super complex thing. It can go so deep, but there's some simple things that you can do that will break down that barrier and get them to be a little bit more engaging. The very first thing that you need to do is to build relationships outside of the time that you lead worship. That means that when you're not leading worship, you need to be talking to people, communicating to people, creating new friendships, growing previous relationships with the people that you get to lead every week. And I'm talking about as many people as you can. I'm not telling you to be best friends with all of them, but you need to speak to them. You need to ask them how they're doing, how their kids doing. Like, you are the worship leader. You're pretty much the most seen person besides your pastor in your whole church. So the best thing that you can do to get them to engage is to build relationships, because when you build relationships, you build trust. And when people are they're trusting, they know your heart, they know that you're a great person. It's easier for them to let down their guards and worship, because sometimes when you have a little bit apprehension about the person that's actually up front, you unknowingly put up this little guard, this little brick wall, and you stop yourself from fully diving into worship because you're trying to figure out, this little person up here, is they really living what they're saying they're living? But when I have that relationship when I know that this person is living the life that they're supposed to be living, and they are super nice, and I can speak to them, they're not grand, dude, it lets all of my guards down and I worship a little bit more freely. So I'm going to tell you to build relationships off of the platform, build relationships with the people in the congregation. The next thing you can do to get a little bit more engagement to them, and this is going to be so simple but yet so difficult, is to look them in the eye. I see so many worship leaders looking off in the sky, looking down at the ground, looking at the team, looking, worried about their instrument, worried about their microphone. No, man, look, you are leading worship. That you are leading. People are looking to you to be that example onto what to do. So if you are looking them in the eye and you are singing to them and talking, looking at them, it's going to bring off a little bit more connection. And for some of us, I know it's like, Mike, I can't look nobody in the eye. That's a little bit too much. I'm an introvert. I don't have that, that extrovert power like you do. But what I'm gonna tell you is to find something, maybe look right over them, or like right at the top of their head, or look at a facial feature, but not necessarily looking at them in the eye. Like, we have to build some form of trust. let's look at it like this. When you're talking to someone personally, you and me, let's say you and me are having a conversation. If I begin to look in the sky, look down at the ground, turn around and look behind me, you're going to feel like I'm being disrespectful to you because we're having a conversation. It's like, are you paying attention to what I'm saying? That's the same way that your congregation feels when you are not looking with and engaging with them with eye contact. So make sure that you're looking to them, looking them in the eye, and that's going to help them to engage a little bit more. The last thing I'm going to say is really simple. It goes along with looking them into the eye and engaging with them, is to just communicate with them. There's so many times that I've seen worship leaders not even talk to their congregation when they're leading. Like they act like there's nobody in the room but them and God. And yes, I understand that that is a time for you to glorify and magnify God with your relationship. But at the same time, you got people with you. Like it's other people in the room too. So communicate with them, talk to them, say, hey, if you don't mind, lift your hands and let's worship. If you don't mind, sing along with me, join in with thee. Let's sing it all together. Like make this thing about us. Make it less about you and more about us. And I'm telling you, that's going to cause your congregation to want to worship and engage a little bit more. Look, if these tips blessed you, I want you to hit that like button and subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you can get notified the next time that I drop another video. If you want to get access to that worship leader toolkit, just go to my website, michaeleagould.com/toolkit. Again, it's going to have tips to show you from A to Z how to pick songs, how to lead worship, how to be more confident. It tells you everything that you need to know to lead worship a little bit more effectively. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.